Throughout the history of the Mortal Kombat franchise, there's a certain subgroup within the full roster of Mortal Kombat characters that are clearly seen as the most popular, and consistently so. These are the Trilogy characters, those designated as highly iconic, with the name Trilogy referring to Mortal Kombat Trilogy, the final version of Mortal Kombat 3 with the most amount of content in any Mortal Kombat 3 entry. They represent a notion of a classic Mortal Kombat cast, featuring many iconic characters, with the game itself releasing early in the lifespan of Mortal Kombat franchise, and thus representing a sort of shared experience for old-school Mortal Kombat players. Despite that, some characters seen in Mortal Kombat Trilogy would apparently seem to be an exception to this essential designation, one such character being the boss character Motaro. Why haven't we seen more of him? Well, this video aims to investigate that exact topic. Before continuing, it is worth noting that there are two continuities in the Mortal Kombat series, the Midway continuity and the NetherRealm continuity. The Midway continuity is comprised of titles developed by Midway Games, the original developer of the Mortal Kombat franchise, though now defunct. The NetherRealm continuity is comprised of games developed by NetherRealm Studios, the current developer of the Mortal Kombat games, starting with Mortal Kombat 2011. Of the boss characters featured in the first three Mortal Kombat games, Goro is clearly the most popular, but all three of them possess an icon status. They are all recognized for their fearsome appearances. Fighting Motaro in his original MK3 incarnation was unique because by design, his body reflected projectiles, and combined with the rest of his moveset, he could be as annoying to deal with as he was intimidating visually. However, visual design is a large part of what holds back Motaro as a character from future games. In the Midway continuity, Motaro is only present in two games, Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the last game in the continuity, with the exception of his cameo appearance in the Conquest mode of Mortal Kombat Deception, and even that did not feature him as playable or a character to be fought against in any way. Motaro is a Centaurian, possessing 4 legs. This separates him from the rest of the cast in the Mortal Kombat franchise. After Mortal Kombat 3, Midway Games shifted model development for characters to 3D, and gameplay also had 3D elements, with Mortal Kombat 4 introducing sidestepping. That Motaro is a 4-legged character adds noticeable complexity to how his model would have to interact with essential gameplay mechanics such as throws, knockdowns, and fatalities. It would require more testing and dedicated programming effort in order to specifically accommodate him, compared to how readily these mechanics interact with the other characters. This only becomes more apparent as you think about the more cinematic shift seen in the NetherRealm continuity games, even as they stick to 2D fighting, notably with X-rays from Mortal Kombat 2011 and Mortal Kombat 10, fatal blows from Mortal Kombat 11, and the more generally ostentatious fatalities introduced in these games. Motaro's body structure makes it difficult for these attacks' impacts to be conveyed as they are intended to be. In fact, it was almost the case that Motaro, along with Chameleon and Chameleon, were not going to be included in Armageddon, the final game in the Midway continuity. Motaro was part of the roster because he was a popular character. However, in order to circumvent the added effort needed to accommodate Motaro's 4-legged design, he was redesigned as a Minotaur, with an in-game explanation stating that he was placed under a curse by the Shokan that made him bipedal, and this curse motivates him to seek revenge against the Outworld warrior race. This, however, wasn't Motaro's most recent Mortal Kombat appearance. It's Mortal Kombat 2011, which sees Motaro in his classic 4-legged Centaurian form. Within the story mode of the game, he features as one of Shao Kahn's lieutenants. However, unlike the other boss characters Kintaro and Goro, Motaro isn't fought at all within the entire story mode. Instead, Motaro is actually killed by Raiden during Striker's chapter, as Raiden receives a vision of Motaro killing Johnny Cage and seeks to avert it when the two finally end up fighting. Motaro isn't a playable character, and he isn't seen again in the NetherRealm continuity. With all that being said, it's pretty clear that Motaro is acknowledged to be an iconic character within Mortal Kombat, despite him being comparatively tossed by the wayside in games since his debut. Among the characters who made their full-fledged debut as playable characters in the Mortal Kombat 3 series, most of them continue to be popular and were featured in Midway continuity titles after their debut. This applies to fighters such as Jade, Ermac, Sindel, Nightwolf, and Cyrax. Even still, those who didn't reappear until Armageddon, such as Stryker and Shiva, are still considered to be popular or have a noticeable following. Stryker was naturally incorporated into the story mode of Mortal Kombat 2011 and featured as a playable character in that game. After having been turned into a Revenant, Stryker still made a return in Mortal Kombat 10's story mode, though he wasn't a playable character. Shiva was also playable in Mortal Kombat 2011 and possessed a small but important role in the story mode of Mortal Kombat 11, despite not being playable or someone who could be fought against. Generally, Shiva continued to have influence of her own within the NetherRealm continuity even after Shao Kahn's death, with her story between Mortal Kombat 2011 and Mortal Kombat 11 bridged by the Mortal Kombat 10 comics that predates the events of the Mortal Kombat 10 games. But the Centaurians don't significantly figure in her story after Mortal Kombat 2011, as the Centaurians are only referenced in Shiva's non-canonical ending. And so the problems of animating and incorporating Motaro into games after the franchise's shift to 3D has left the character with a dearth of mythology for fans to support the character with, and his status as an icon is most all of what motivates his fan support. Even still, amongst fan circles, it's readily acknowledged that he is a character who is not likely to be seen again in future Mortal Kombat titles, due to him being four-legged and how it would figure with game design in a way that requires more specialized attention compared to other bipedal characters. Mortal Kombat doesn't already lack for popular characters, and underutilized popular characters either. Tell us what you think about Motaro as a character in the comment section below. How much does it bother you that he is hardly a part of Mortal Kombat mythology since his debut, and how strongly do you think that he needs to return in a future Mortal Kombat title? What do you think of the solution that Armageddon gave in making him a Minotaur? Do you think it subtracts from the essence of the character and his design, or do you think that it still makes Motaro who he is? If he was continually made to be a Minotaur, would fans accept it? He was already established as a Centaurian in Mortal Kombat 2011, a reboot for the franchise, and was killed in that same title, though Armageddon gave a solution of sorts when they explained his new design as a curse. It would seem that since Armageddon, the developers weren't keen on accepting or promoting the notion of a two-legged Motaro. But, as always, thanks for watching. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.